My school is at the museum.
It has been a really fantastic adventure for all of us.
The children in an alternative learning environment are just brilliant.
The project's been amazing, it really has.
I'm just glad that we were prepared to take a risk and actually become involved in the project.
Museums are under phenomenal threat, closing all the time. Very often those museums are in beautiful fabric, they're in gorgeous places. And so the idea came to say, look, the museums are full of treasures that belong to us all anyway. Children are our treasure, so let's put the treasures together. If there could be such a thing as a museum school from which you could learn everything, maybe this could become an alternative model.
I think this project is exciting because it actually offers a little bit more of a concrete example, a real something to get your teeth into. We've had lots of studies of short visits or maybe programs that go on for a period of time but just once a week for 6 weeks. But this is a nice example of what's happening, and that allows us to really unpack or tease out what are the opportunities, what are the constraints, what are the problems.
We've ended up with 3 museums. Arbea, Roman Fort Museum in Tyne Wear, the National Waterfront Museum in Swansea, and Tate Liverpool.
Our vision is really about co-design, co-creation and co-production. So my primary school at the museum is just a fantastic way of testing that out over a longer period of time than we would normally test it out.
We wanted to take part in the project because we thought it was really beneficial. We've chose the older children who were going into the primary school in September, and they've been involved in all different activities.
So the key challenges for us at Tate Liverpool, I guess, are the same as most of the partners taking part. It's space, staffing and resource. Without having a dedicated space, it's difficult, but we're managing it.
So far we saw big changes in the children. Some of them are actually making new friendships with children that they'd never bothered with before in the nursery, which is quite amazing. And the quieter ones are starting to talk, and we did have a wow moment today. One of the children spoke for the first time to another child, and the other child replied, "Wow, he knows my name." Yeah, so that was amazing.
Well, we were keen for the National Waterfront Museum to be part of this project. We have 200,000 visits, annual visits from students and pupils a year, but this project really allows us an opportunity to interrogate in greater depth the impacts that a museum visit can have.
It's been excellent to work with Laura, the teacher of the first group here from St Thomas. I think we've both learned a lot from one another, and it's been excellent to share that learning experience and develop as we've gone through.
Are you excited? Yeah! What could you find us read?
It's been really interesting to see the techniques that maybe the teacher uses for the classroom that could be beneficial for us as museum professionals.
It's completely changed my view on how much the children learn from hands-on experiences. The Robin Goch has had a huge impact on the children's learning. It's all they speak about. I'm surprised how much information they've retained. They remember artefacts, they remember where they are in the museum. Their oracy skills have improved massively. They're speaking a lot more. What we've realised is we tend to rule out younger children, and we tend to aim educational visits at museums in particular for our older children, whereas we've seen now, no, we need to get them in while they're young because they enjoy it just as much, if not more.
I think there were challenges that we faced before the actual project started. There were things that we had to think about, lunch times being one of them, and dinners and how that would work, particularly with children accessing free school meals and how all that would be funded. But once all those things were sorted out before the actual project started, once the project has started, they run incredibly smoothly.
I think the most interesting thing about The project that I'd probably take away is how sceptical we all were at the beginning when it was proposed that a group of 4-year-olds would come to the museum, but actually seeing them here every day and engaging in ways that we could never have imagined has made us reconsider the way that we plan our learning programme.
Museum educators are a fantastic resource that teachers can use to help them in their work.
For teaching across a broad curriculum, we've definitely discovered lots of ways to utilise the space. There were slaves here at Arbea. We wanted the children to understand what it was like to be a slave in a household. So we used the commanding officer's house. There was bread baking, making herbal remedies, learning a song for entertainment, and bed making.
I've been able to incorporate the site a lot into teaching, not just when we've been here, but when we're back over in Hadrian as well. Just using it as a basis for the planning. So for literacy, creating, prompts for writing from it. We've had maths lessons over here, which I wouldn't normally have said to go outside for, but we've kind of been quite creative with it, and I've got them outside, and we've been on angle hunts with protractors, and we've done Roman numeral hunts, and we've been able to incorporate a lot more than I originally expected in the project over here with the teaching.
The site's given us a real opportunity to expand our curriculum. It affects the teaching practice, I think, in a really exciting way, because it gives our staff the opportunity to think outside the box a little bit in terms of how they deliver their regular curriculum subject. They've got the opportunity to come across the road in the Roman fort and use a wealth of different resources, not just for core subjects, but right across foundation subjects as well.
It's not just somebody else's heritage, it's our heritage because it's right here and it's part of their own local history. So even though it's of World Heritage status, it is South Shields history, and it's right here and it's theirs.
In the beginning, I felt, what are we going to do? I don't actually like museums, but this one has been different. I think that I'm going to remember this forever.
I think until you live the project, you won't fully understand the project.
I'd be very interested to move a whole school into a museum.
It's just a joy, it just puts a smile on everybody's face, seeing 16 3-year-olds trotting in and out every day. I think they'll be really missed when they're gone.
The project has demonstrated that it is possible to cover many aspects of a curriculum outside of the classroom. I wouldn't necessarily be getting rid of all schools and citing them all in museums, but it's about using museums more cleverly, more thoughtfully, and not just seeing them as once-a-year trips after exams at the end of the year, but really see that they can be integrated into every day or every week's teaching.